welcome to a lesson on how to do rhythm like Jimi Hendrix. I'm Brett Papa, and today we're going to go over kind of stone-free, easy writer-ish concept. It's not exact, so don't expect exact transcriptions of those songs, but kind of, get you in that realm. Okay, so there's going to be a drum track as well, and the drum track is going to be in the description box below. It's going to be a little link. It'll say drum track. Click on that. Also, check out, there's a bunch of other links down there. There's soloing links, all sorts of stuff that's not on YouTube. It's all free, so check that out. There's a song request link as well. So if you want a song request, click that link and it goes to a little special box and I get it. And if I pick you, I'm going to do it once a week. I'll give you a $10 gift card to Guitar Center so you can get some strings or something. So anyways, the concept we're going on today is basically how to take the, Hendrix chord and apply that with a pentatonic scale, right? So say a third position, which is right, if we're in C sharp, that's going to be the pentatonic position 3 that we're going to use. Now, we're also going to work out a position 1 in C sharp minor, right? But we're going to base it all upon riffing off of this Hendrix chord. Now, if you don't know the Hendrix chord, Old Faithful, it's A string 4th fret, D string 3rd fret, G string 4th fret, B string 5th fret. Really ugly sounding if you play it one note at a time, but together it's just freaking groovy. So anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to use a combination between that and walking bass lines in that third position of minor pentatonic. Okay, so in the beginning, we're just going to do something really basic, right? So you basically come down on that Hendrix chord. Now, if you notice, I do a little, backing up kind of. So I'll go. Now, a lot of times to keep the syncopation right, I'll do a pull off to like an open E. So we got. Right? And you're just messing around with the notes on the low side of that third position in C sharp minor pentatonic. Now, you can do a whole bunch of different stuff. You could take that like. Right, all sorts of, there's endless variations, right? So if we start with something basic, let's do. Okay, so all I did is I hit the Hendrix chord. I don't know what it's called. So I'll just call it the Jimmy chord, right? So we got. Now if you notice, I did a little rake up, so. And then I just went 2 to 4 on the E, so we got. And then I go down to the 2nd fret, or the B note on the A string. So we got. And then I'll do a quick pull off. Okay, so it's just 4, 2, 4, O on the low E. Okay, so that's A, 4 to 2, E, 4, 0. Okay, so we got. Right? That's first. Now the second time around, I'll introduce the low E string. So we got. right? And you can go same kind of pull off. So we got. Now again, experiment with that and mess around, right? So the object is to use that low side of the third position of C sharp minor pentatonic to be your moving bass line, right? Then you could throw in, a Hendrix kind of, he does these awesome chords where it's basically just the root and the fifth, right? So what you would do is you would be on E2, D4, B2, and then the fourth fret on the E, right? You mute out the G and the A, and then that's when you might also use this scale, right? But you're gonna fill in the blanks, and to top it off, you might use an octave, right? So it's just, right? You're just walking up, but when you add an octave, right, it sounds cool. And then if you throw in some different kind of rhythmic qualities, right? So maybe, so all together you might have something like, now, if you noticed, I threw in the C sharp minor position 1 pentatonic, right? So when I went, right, total Hendrix style lick, and then, right? So that one would be, the first one would be 9 to 11, and you're hanging out on that 9th fret or the minor third, right? And then, so that one's going to be a double stop, 11 and 11 on G and B, and 9 and 9 on G and B. And then to the octave, right, the C sharp note, and then down a whole step. So you got. Right, or. Now, one of the things you can do is he's famous for multi-tracking stuff and getting harmonies going. So instead of doing just an octave, you can use the root in the third. So now you get, right? So essentially it sounds like two guitar players are playing, and you're just walking up those same frets you would be doing on the octave. But now you're going to take your pinky or your third finger, whichever one you're using, and move it down to the B string. So you're really only fretting the second fret of the A and the fourth fret of the B, and then you use your fingers to mute all of the other strings. And then just walk up one fret at a time. Okay? So. All that kind of stuff. It's just experimentation. He's famous for filling in, the gaps, right? So if your third position is, don't be afraid to walk up and do licks like that, right? So let's work on it with the drum track. So let's also keep in mind that we can just mess around. Right, so that might be a simple lick like, right, so. Or, yeah, so it's. It's much easier to just play it rather than to explain it. So listen closely. Right, you can scoot up to the 4th fret, or the 4th position rather, or 4th fret. So it's like a, create patterns. So say the first one's. Right, and the second one might be. Right, and then on the 4th one, throw in something different. So say you went. Right, it's just using those pentatonic positions to really work that spot, right? And really try to just get into that beat, right? So. All right, so that one is going down to position 1, and you just keep your thumb if you can do it, right? So a lot of people have a hard time with the thumb thing, and my hands are not big at all. I definitely do not have Steve Vai hands. One of the things that happens is people try to put their thumb flat, right? And then try to do it, and they just find they don't have enough room. If you scoot your thumb to the side, right? So you're actually more on the side of your thumb. It allows the mechanics of your wrist to get into a different spot. Right? And if you get good at muting, it's great because you can get this really percussive thing. You're hitting all these extra strings, but they're not making a note. They're just making like a percussive kind of mute, right? So when you combine that with a on. So you can use that pentatonic. He uses the pentatonic scale all of the time rhythmically, not just for soloing, but he's got a ripping drummer, a ripping bass player, and it creates this big foundation to where he can, really be experimental with how he plays. And also, if you start using your thumb to get those low, C sharp notes, it fills in the sound too. So it's almost like two guitar players, right? Right? So you can really just mess around with that. The drum track is great because it's not that fast, and it really lets you kind of sink into that groove. So let's mess with it a little bit more. Right? So it's the whole idea is to take the simple concept of that chord, walk up the third position of C sharp minor pentatonic and just mess with it. Create walking bass lines, right? Then you add the, root fifth chord, and then maybe you crawl up using that same scale, but in octaves on the chords. Right? And then you do that maybe a couple of times. Then you add the root in third. Maybe the first time, since you're doing the lower octaves, right? You stick down in that one spot. And then maybe when you add the third in there, then you go up to the higher spot, right? And then after that sort of a, process, you're like, okay, I've done the same thing 100 times. Then try that other thing where you're switching up here. Right, just get comfortable with going back and forth from the E to the D. And then add in more, that sort of a thing. That's just jumping down to the E and the B 12th fret, right? Sorry, I wasn't muted out, but add in a little bit, of the kind of higher side, right? So. Right, and just experimenting, right? I mean, you can tell so much of what he did was experimentation and not being so caught up in the right notes and always having to hit the right things. And, instead of just going, which sounds great, you have the... Right? I mean, you should mess around forever, right? So just really experiment it. I think a lot of that is getting loose, using a drum track, getting that vibe, that feel, and then just filling in and constantly changing. I mean, if you listen to Hendrix, never plays the same thing twice, right? Always moving around. And listen to different live performances of the same song. Always something different going on. And that's what made him so great. It was a constant experimentation, and he could pull stuff off in the moment, which is really will draw a crowd in. It wasn't always perfect, right? There's plenty of performances where he's just, he might not sound that good. He had an off night, somebody caught it. And then there's just these brilliant performances where his rhythm and the groove and everything is so locked in. But to get there, you got to be willing to fall on your face. So make sure you're always experimenting, loose, relax, work on the muting, all that other stuff. But just experiment. Just constantly create, change, and move. And then maybe what you thought was awesome and the first time you did it, by the 57th and a half time you did it, you'll come up with something new and even better. So give it a shot. All right, and thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell button to be notified when the latest videos are released. Check the main channel page for other playlists like the popular Guitarists You Should Know, where I feature today's hottest touring and session guitar players. Support the cause by visiting brettpapa.com, where I take you from learning other people's songs and licks to creating your own. Catch you next time.